Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are talking about Krypton. Now this is something that I've owned for a while, never watched, never really had a huge interest to watch. I just wanted it as part of my collection, but I've been on a DCTV kick lately. So we checked out Krypton. The whole series is only 2 seasons, 10 episodes each, 20 episodes. I watch things on 1.5 speed, so I got through it in like a weekend. Let me start by saying I had super low expectations for this series. I didn't know hardly anything about it except for it was about Superman's grandfather, right? So like not Jor-El, not Superman. I didn't expect it to end with Krypton exploding, right? The problem with that is I don't care about Superman's grandpa. So, and I'm not a big fan of sci-fi stuff either. So I had very low expectations going in. Started the series, and initially I had pretty positive thoughts about it with my low expectations in mind. So I want to say that I think the character of Seg-El, Superman's grandpa, was created for this show. I don't think he comes from comics. I could be wrong. Yell at me if I am. But that's my understanding, is that they made up new characters. But right away, they get Adam Strange in there, who is from the comics. I was not familiar with him. But he's like, I came from the future. Superman's in danger, blah, 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 blah. So right off the bat, it's like, okay, so they're making this tie into Superman. Even though he's not in the show, he's not really going to directly affect the plot. That's why it matters to me as a fan of Superman. Fine. Some people might call that lazy. I will give them the benefit of the doubt and call it clever. So we're watching and we're going along. And then we get the spoilers for the show, by the way. We get the characters of House Zod. And that name means something in Superman lore. But it's not General Zod. It's other characters in the Zod house. So I've got an idea and an expectation for these characters, but I don't have a history with these characters. I thought that was very well done, and I thought that was very interesting. And the other big thing is that a lot of times in prequel shows like this, it's like, well, we know he's going to survive because we know that he's, going to give birth to Jor-El and then going to give birth to, right? I'm pretty sure in the first episode, maybe not that early, but very early on, this is Krypton we're talking about. So he puts his DNA in with the woman that he's bound to. And that's it. They've got the DNA. He could die at any point now, and it would not disrupt the Superman mythos. So I thought that was very clever as well. So, right away, 3 big issues that I had. Why should I care? How am I going to get into these characters? I already know how it's going to end, right? I know he's not going to die. Those 3 things all pretty quickly are taken care of. It deals with Superman because of time travel. I know the families that these characters are from, so I have expectations for that. And the third thing I said, which I now can't remember, the DNA for the baby is there, so he could die, right? So I will say, overall for the first season, pretty enjoyable. I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it. Also, the big villain of the first season is Brainiac. And I don't know a ton about Brainiac, but what I do know about Brainiac is there's lots of different versions of him, and he can be done in lots of different ways. So even though I've seen things with Brainiac before, him being here doesn't feel like it's out of place. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, Brainiac is supposed to be a Superman villain, not, he's not supposed to be around this early, because he's supposed to be, like, Brainiac is a very unique villain, and I think he works here. He can be used in lots of different ways. He can have lots of different types of threats that he poses. Thought that was a good choice. First season ends with Seg-El, Superman's grandfather, being taken into the Phantom Zone with Brainiac, and now General Zod from the future has come back to the past, and he's set up as the bad guy moving forward. Solid ending, right? The story closed. The whole season they're trying to stop Brainiac. They do that. Seg-El gets taken away. Oh no. But because his DNA is already in place, that could be the end of this story, and it doesn't affect the Superman mythology as a whole, right? And then we've got General Zod coming into power. We don't know exactly where that's going, but in other versions of Superman we've seen before, General Zod is in opposition to Jor-El, so fine, right? Everything's fine at the end of the first season. Second season starts. In general, I like the second season less. And I think it's because they focus so much on General Zod, which we've seen multiple times before. It's also really weird because the other characters in his house, the other characters in his family in the show, oftentimes just refer to him as Zod. Like sometimes it's General Zod and sometimes it's his name, which I forget what it is. But sometimes they just call him Zod. And I'm like, that's your name. That's weird. Quit being weird. So I think the second season was just 2-0. It also separates Seg-El from the main characters for a big part of it. He gets out of the Phantom Zone pretty quickly, but it takes him a long time to get back to Krypton and reconnect with everyone. So it's like, why are you separating your characters? I want to see these characters interact with each other. You've also got this whole Civil War thing going on, which, like an actual Civil War, not like a Captain America Civil War. Like, there's rebels on Krypton fighting back against Zod's forces. It's just, I thought the Brainiac season was better. So second season, mostly disappointing. And then the ending, we get the, all along they've been calling this child Corvex, and it's one of those things where I'm like, they could change the name, right? They can just change the name. And sure enough, by the end of the second season, they changed Corvex's name to Jor-El. And it's like, oh, that's Superman's dad. Okay, fine. The end of the season, which remember, is the end of the series, Brainiac kidnaps Jor-El and leaves with him. And that's the end of the season. That is not an ending, right? So unlike the first season, which set things up for a second season, but also, if you had ended there, would not have disrupted the Superman mythology, the end of the second season absolutely disrupts the Superman mythology because Jor-El is not on Krypton. How do they get him back? We will never know because this series was canceled. That frustrates me so bad. It's fine to set stuff up for the future. It's fine to plant seeds for things in the future, but you need to make your endings an ending. Because this leads to nowhere. Moving on. The other weird thing in this series is that General Zod is supposedly Superman's uncle. I don't hate it. It seemed pretty unnecessary. The only reason that comes into play has to do with blood being a key to unlock a thing. I kept expecting it to be a trick, that he had tricked Seg-El into thinking. So it turns out he's Seg-El's son. So I thought he was going to have tricked Seg-El into thinking he was his son somehow, and then it being revealed that he wasn't. Maybe that was in a plan for season 3. It never came about. But again, it's like a big change. I don't think that's how it normally is in the comics. I don't know. I don't read DC Comics. That's not how it's been in any of the media that I've consumed. So didn't hate it, but I was like, it's kind of weird. That's weird. So my recommendation on Krypton, if you think you might want to check it out, is watch the first season and then stop. Because if you get into it in the second season, it goes nowhere and it's not coming back. Maybe 20 years from now they'll do a revival. I doubt it though. But gosh, what a disappointing way to end it. And that's going to be the disappointing way that I end this video. Thank you for watching. Those are my thoughts on Krypton. Let me know if you have any thoughts, but that's everything that I have to say at this point. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.